You've been a former England captain. Just tell us what it felt like to you today watching that match.
Yeah, unbelievable. Obviously, brilliant scenes last summer in winning the Euros, but World Cup is another step up and something special. So yeah, against the hosts, always going to be tricky. But yeah, England found a way to win again. And yeah, I mean, it's just obviously dreams come true, isn't it? For any player who plays for their country, you dream about playing in a World Cup. But I mean, I'm still trying to get my head around it. They're going to play in a World Cup final on Sunday. Is just remarkable. And Serina and the team have been magnificent over the last 2 years since she's been put in post, and they're on a rise, and I believe they can go on and do it.
I mean, it's incredible. What was your favourite moment from the match day? Was there a standout player, a standout pass?
The standout player for me was without doubt Lauren Hemp. She had an involvement in 2 of the goals and obviously scored 1 as well. But her work rate, the tenacity, the desire, her determination, she, speed-wise, we always knew she's a threat to any defence. But I think since coming closer into the middle to play alongside Russo, it's kind of unlocked her kind of freedom and her potential. So yeah, brilliant to see. And I thought she was a standout today. But generally, overall, the whole team have found a way to win in every game that they've come up against so many different challenges.
It's very reassuring, isn't it? I'll come to you now, if you don't mind, because you were listening there to my opening parts of the show where I was talking about how women have been historically kind of stacked against, at least here in England. So this could be a really transformative victory for England if we do win on the weekend. But tell me what you've noted about the way that attitudes towards women's football have changed over recent years.
I mean, you mentioned yourself, since more and more women have access to the game and the women's game growing, I think the attitude towards women's and the acceptance of football players changed drastically. And that's how it's supposed to be. I don't really, you were talking about that is like 50 years ago that this existed, but that's not really true, because part of the world, I mean, in England, yes, but parts of the world that exist there still is the reality, which is so stupid and yeah, hard to believe. Because these women during the World Cup, the English national team just proven that if you give them the access, the opportunities, they can achieve great things. And then I think they are one step close to achieve something incredible.
Do you feel like the comments that get bandied around every time there's a women's international tournament now, they seem to be getting quieter, but you still hear the same comments about whatever it might be, sports bras, size of football pitches, styles of play, skillful, fast passes. Does that chip away at players, Nadia?
You know what? I think 5-10 years ago, yes, it did affect a lot, just because that was the reality. It had a huge impact on the games and how the media was seeing it, the interest. But nowadays, it doesn't really matter anymore. I think it's growing. It's growing a lot, and every tournament you see it. The interest, the popularity, the investments. It's just going the right direction. So no, I don't think so. Not anymore. It used to, but I think nowadays, not in the biggest football nations, but like the smaller nations, that still is a big factor. And I think how we can change it is by like this kind of tournaments. You see small nations like Morocco coming and Colombia coming and representing and inspiring the coming generation. I think this is how you do change point of views.
I want to come to Martin now to get a bit of that sporting context, because when we were designing the show tonight, Martin, I was like, saying to people that this could be bigger than 66. I know what that means to a lot of people in this country, men and women. Do you think it is a fair argument, though, that women have fought more for this victory if they get it?
I think that's a legitimate argument, certainly, given, as we discussed, the banning of women's football for 50 years, which is a mark of shame for the Football Association. I have to say that the FA now not only recognise that, are actively, desperately trying to use and grow women's and girls' football. They think it's a huge factor. I mean, if you actually look at the 2 tournaments, England in 1966 only had a 16-team tournament, played all the games at Wembley. They had a massive advantage. They even changed the venue of the semi-final, which was supposed to be up on Mersey at Goodison, to let them play at Wembley, the semi-final against Portugal. This time it's away from home, again, in a bigger tournament, the biggest, a women's tournament with real quality across the board. It's the biggest one, first one they've had with 32, but they're really, really impressive teams. And given also the adversity, no Leah Williamson, no Fran Kirby, no Beth Mead, who are all key players. And then they've had to play the last 2 knockout games without Lauren James as well for different reasons. So it's been a remarkable achievement. They played extremely well and are thoroughly deserving of being there. And they seem not to worry. Faye will know there were times in the past when England played at the highest level and didn't really believe. I went to the World Cup in 2019 and they had a US in the semi-finals, and I don't think they believed they could win that. Now they think they can beat anyone.
Okay, let's bring in Faye on that then. What is it about the mentality in the team at the moment that does believe it can win?
Yeah, well, I think it's previous experience of having the disappointment, getting slowly closer, having more of a professional league now in the WSL in England, where all the top players are coming to this league. The Americans, we had 4 Americans over the last, 3, I think it was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And then when our players are now rubbing shoulders with world champions and going, well, they do what we do. We're just as good. We can compete with them. We're on a par. And I just think it's helped really just week in, week out playing in the best league around the world with some of the top players. Look at the Dutch, even the Australians. 8 of their squad are playing in the WSL. And I just think there's that belief now in the players. And also with the manager, of having a manager who's been there and done it, taken a Netherlands team who were on a par with England about what they achieved and what their rankings were, and then took them to European champions in a home tournament and followed it up with a World Cup final 2 years later. So Serina's repeated that with now this England team because the belief that she's instilled in this team.
Yeah, the Serina Wiegman, as you said there, she's now taken the team to 4th consecutive international final. It's really a stunning record she's building up there. Martin, what is the secret sauce to her success?
I think she has a plan for every situation. As Faye mentioned earlier, Lauren Hem was a winger. That was where she made her name, but she's become this thrusting centre forward with real quality on the ball as well. And the players listen to Serina Wiegman, and they believe that what she tells them will become true, will become right. And that's a huge thing. If you have faith in the coach, you will run through a brick wall for that coach in any type of football, whether that's men's, boys, girls, women's, just players want to believe that their manager has something special. And you look at the track record of success under Serina Wiegman at all the places she's been at, particularly in the last 6-8 years, and she has something special about her, there's no question.
Oh, I'm sure she'll be even hotter property after this as well. Look, I'm coming to you now, Nadia, because England's set to play Spain on Sunday. I've got to admit, not knowing much about the Spanish side, I don't know if you do, but what could we be seeing in terms of a final play?
It's going to be a really interesting matchup. I've been following both teams. I do respect the way the English squad play, but I don't think it's the same. They haven't really hit their level that they did during the Euros. So I think there's still like some percentage left that they can, get during the finals. On the other hand, I think this is probably one of the best Spanish teams that I've seen. They've always been so good with the ball, keeping the ball, but now they're really, really dangerous. But for me, I think one of the things you guys were speaking about, Lauren Hemp, who I actually play with in Man City, I think that's probably going to be one of the best, factors or keys to open this Spanish team. If they play, compact and try to catch them in the counter attacks, I do believe that Spain is going to have a really good chance.
And Nadia, while we've got you, I know this is a slight segue, but we did sort of ask you beforehand whether you'd be comfortable with this. Yesterday marked the 2-year anniversary since the Taliban seized control of Afghanistan. You obviously have Afghanistan hereditary sort of links and ties and family there. And I just wanted to give you the opportunity, as you were talking about the fact that women don't have access to sport in other countries around the world, to share what it means to you to see women succeed in football with that in mind.
I mean, it's such a weird feeling because on one hand, I'm so happy. It makes me proud to have been a part of this, and now seeing finally that women and women's sports are getting that platform and the respect it deserves. But then on the other hand, the contrast that you have, you know, parts of the world like Afghanistan where girls are taking away this opportunity, and forget sports, they're not even allowed to attend school. So, and it's the contrast for me, it's crazy. And then the only difference between it is where you've been born, you know, the luck, or unfortunately, the lack of luck, if you can say so. So it's a weird, you know, it's a weird contrast. And I just wish that it didn't have to be this difficult to be a woman, a girl, parts of the world. I just wish that we had, you know, access as you have in, you know, Western society, in England, US, Europe, wherever.
Absolutely. Look, Nadia, thank you for generously sharing those insights with us. Faye, we'll end with you. A message you've got to the Lionesses, if you've got one.
Yeah, it's just keep going, go to that next level. Like Nadine was talking about, I think there's still a bit to go. And yeah, they're in a World Cup final, believe in themselves. And I believe they can do it. It'll be tough. Spain are a very good team, very good at possessing the ball. But yeah, we can go one more and let's get it done.